Hey guys, doing another question of the day here. The question is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? So, this question, I mean, this answer could go on for days, really. I think if I was to give my 20-year-old self, so I would probably say first off, you don't have to go out 5 nights a week. You can stay in more. You can save more money. Um, but I would say there's nothing wrong with going out with your friends and doing stuff. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be such a one trick pony. Like hey, wherever has cheap drinks and it's going to be busy and there'll be girls. You don't have to. You could go, hiking or go do something else. That's a small one though. But probably, on the money that you spend on that, I probably would say in your as soon as you have a job, as soon as you have money coming in that isn't, part-time work because you're in high school or you're in college or something like that, to put away and to constantly put away more. And I don't mean more, I mean as you make more, take that raise and just start putting it away and keep putting it away. So I did a decent job of it, but then I would also take risks and try to start companies. And then next thing you knew, I was like, well, maybe I'll just pull out 40 grand off of that and I'll try something. Now those probably worked out and it probably was fine, but it would have been better to say, no, I got to find another way to get that money. I got to ask parents or uncles or other guys that have some money to invest in some idea and try it. Now that does make you beholden to those guys, so that's the part that sucks about it, right? When it's your own money and you try to start something, you get to kind of do whatever you want. But I think um, I think the main key that I would say to young people or to myself is save more now because the goal is to not have the most stuff. It really isn't. Now that's hard to tell a 23-year-old person or a 29-year-old person or a probably up to 35 or 40 even, that's not the goal. Now as you get to be 50, you're like, wait, it doesn't that stuff doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Instead, what matters is who stops working first, right? That's really the goal. Or maybe not even stops working, but who has the ability to stop working first. Doesn't mean that you're going to stop. It just means you might, you're not going to have the corporate sales job, where you make, 200 grand, 300 grand a year, where you're killing it, but you're on the phone all the time and you're out of town and you're doing all this, the things you don't want to do. But the guy that wins is the guy that says, you know what I want to do? I want to work at Ace Hardware 2 or 3 days a week, and I'm going to travel and I'm going to take it easy and I'm going to play a lot of golf and that's going to be my life. So that guy is winning, right? The guy that gets to control his own time. And so much of the stuff that I think you learn as you get older is that the stuff we own ends up owning our time because the big house that you have and the fancy cars and fancy country clubs and all that stuff. And I'm not saying this as a guy that hasn't done it. I do it. I'm living in one of those houses right now and I have a fancy country club. But it does make it to where you have to make a certain amount of money, right? So now you're beholden. You can't maybe do something that you'd want to do. You can't go, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. I'm going to do something else. And I don't have any um, I don't have the bills that warrant that I have to stay here and do this. So that's the thing that I would try to get through, and I try to get through to Sierra about that, and to Ella as well. Is that the goal isn't to have the big fancy stuff, right? The goal is to be able to do whatever you want whenever you want to do it, right? Now, if that's to have a big time job and you want that responsibility and that's that challenge, then you do that. But if you're also like, yeah, I don't want to do that, the goal is to be able to have that ability to say, yeah, I don't like this job. I'm going to stop. Oh, we got to go find another job. Like, no, no, I don't. I've got a modest house and maybe I've paid it off early, or maybe I've paid so much down that the mortgage is so low, I've been able to refinance or whatever you've done, right? I've got a paid off car. I don't we don't take extravagant vacations yet. Um, so I think that's the goal. Now, one thing that I think parents should do, especially if you have any ability at all to do it, is to put your kids either one, start an account or a retirement account for them, or two, if you own any business at all, put them on the payroll, have them do social media, have them do marketing, heck, have them be the cleaning lady, clean the office, and they make, $200 a week doing that, and all that money goes into their retirement savings. I was lucky enough to be able to do that for Sierra from the time she was, I don't know, 16 or 17. And so now she's getting ready to graduate college, and she'll have $50,000 in her retirement account at the age of 22. And it's not anything that she did. It's just me going, hey, let me set you up. You know what $50,000 in your retirement account does at 22? Man, it really makes retirement easy. So those are the things I wish I would do. So for one, just from a financial standpoint, is save more, right? Because your 55-year-old self will love you for it. And then you don't have to wait to be one of those people that are like retiring at 68, 70, 72. And then by the time you can retire, you're like tired, mold, not that 70 is that old anymore, but it's a whole lot older than 55 is, so you'd like to retire when you're 55 and you can, take it easy, and go do the things you want to do without, it being such a chore because you went and saw some castle in Ireland and they had lots of stairs. I want to do that when I'm 55, not 72, because I probably won't be able to do it at that point. Another thing that I think is a good idea is, if I was to give myself advice, is one, first off, you have to go out and probably make money. I don't know if you have to, but I'm going to say that. I'm going to say you need to go out when you're young and go get into a profession that you want or you think that you can do for a living that you own yourself. So I know it's counterproductive, but I've been on both sides, and I think this is the better way to do it, which is go to college, don't go to college. I mean, I would advocate for not going to college. I just don't think, unless you have a passion for accounting or being a veterinarian or a doctor or an attorney, something that requires, you pass big exams and take these certain certifications, and you need that. But if you're going to go to college to be a finance guy, you can just study for that and take those tests and get those certifications on your own. If you're going to do it for marketing, please don't go. There's no marketing textbook that is up to date enough to know what's going on with Facebook ads and the Google algorithm, and impossible. So don't do that. Instead, say, hey, maybe I wouldn't mind being an electrician. You work inside a lot. It's not bad. So at some point I want to be my own electrician. I want to own my own business. And if that's the case, then go work for somebody, which is great because as an electrician, you don't have to go to college. So at 18, 19 years old, you go out and you become an electrician, and you go get those certifications. You start out as an apprentice, and you become, a top tier electrician. You become a master electrician, all the different levels that they probably have and all that. So then once you have the skills, now you say, hey, I appreciate it, company, that let me learn into this and learn this for 3 years, 4 years, just like a college is, right? Except for the money goes the other way, right? In college, you go to college and you got to pay somebody $100,000 to $200,000 a year to go do that. Instead, they pay you, right? You start out, I'm sure HVAC guys and plumbers and electricians, I can't imagine there's a lot of them making under $25 or $30 an hour. And if you're good, you're making a lot more than that. So in your last years, but So in other words, they're paying you 50 grand a year or 75 grand a year to learn how to do this and get on the job training. And then you can turn around and then go work for yourself. What we pay our electrician, who is a regular guy who doesn't do anything besides just works for, I think he's got 3 or 4 of us kind of companies, and then he does some homeowner work. But besides that, that's what he does. But we pay him, I mean, at least $1,000 a week, because any job we have, it's, $2,000, and we're paying him 1,200 to 1,500 to do it. And if you've got 3 of the other ones of that, let's say he's making, let's just say he's making 5 grand or 6 grand a week working for himself. He's got a van and tools, right? And he's making $300,000 a year. And I know it's going good because he takes a lot of vacations. He's got lots of kids and he's doing fine. It sure seems like, right? And he just has 3 or 4 customers that he takes care of. And the rest of it is just, and we're not even there most of the time. It's not like homeowners and they're over your shoulder. Like, hey, Aaron, we're all done with this one. Can you go in and install the ceiling fan and 3 switches and an outlet and run all the conduit and do all that? And that's, $2,800, and he's charging us $1,900. And he goes and does that in a day or a day and a half, and he makes good money. That's a great business and a great lifestyle. And with all the AI stuff coming up, right? This is the beginning of 2025, so I don't know when these videos might get watched, but artificial intelligence is kind of just starting. But there are going to be some jobs that get taken away. Middle management, accounting. There's a lot of jobs that could get automated. It's going to be tough to automate running conduit and pulling wire through, or fixing an air conditioning unit, or, installing new sinks. And the days before we have robots doing that could be a while. So I would say do something like that. Get into something where you can own the business, because the only way to make real wealth is to own the business. That's it. Anything besides that, you're going to work for somebody else and they're going to make all the money. Just because that's how it works. They have all that leverage of every employee. If a guy has 20 employees and he makes $10 an hour off each one of them, he's making $200 an hour, and he makes $400,000 a year. He's never going to pay you. Not very often are you going to get paid $400,000 a year working for somebody else. Not that it's not out there, it is, but those are tough to find. The last thing I would say is probably just to worry less. Worry less about other people, worry less about yourself and your career and all those things. They take care of themselves. Maybe somebody has issues with this or that, or drinking or drugs or something. Is not that bad things don't happen, but I think one of the best sayings, I love it, is, and this too shall pass. And you have to think of it for the good and the bad. Oh, you're killing it and everything's going great and your business is awesome. This too shall pass. And it's going to get harder. But when it's hard, you have to also know, like, this too shall pass. It'll get better. So I would say keep that in mind. Save more, work for yourself, and worry less, and know that you'll get through this. And when times are good, put away, because that's not going to last forever either. So those are kind of my 3 things that I think if I knew those sooner, and listened to them. You might hear them, but you might not listen and do them. But if I did them, it would make your life a whole lot easier as you get into your 40s and 50s, and for sure beyond. If you saved early, man, your last, let's say you live to be 90, your last 50 years are going to be really nice. So if you just put in a little bit of work for 10 years and save a bunch. So those are my 3 answers. So we'll see you guys.